About a month back, this Miku Miku Beam meme became viral. Beam meme. And of course, like any other viral meme videos, a lot of variants came out. Like this one killing Thanos, or this one with a different character, or this one what the f. And as a weirdo with no human intellect myself, I thought, why is there no Miku shooting an actual light beam? So why not make one? But from which one? There are so many Miku beam memes, and it's hard to choose one from them. And so, like Archimedes once said,
if thou hast too many choices, just make it from scratch.
So let's start from the scratch, which is the sketch. Drawing is actually easier than you think. Just draw an egg for the head, an eye, a mouth, and some hair, and some tied hair from Miku's characteristic. And there you go. You get the basic drawing. Now, based on the drawing, we start modeling. Great, it didn't record. Thankfully, I recognized it mid-recording. Thanks, ADHD. I tried not to sculpt this time because I wanted to try a new method. So starting from a vertex, I started to create meshes manually. As you can see, I got my subdivision modifier on for smoother surface, and the mirror modifier for symmetry, and 50% less work to do. I started off from the nose, cause that's where most 3D modelers start from, don't know why, and kept on extruding the edges along the reference image. I caved in the mouth like a kangaroo patch, make a small bowl for the eye, and linked it with the rest of the mesh. After that, just extrude the edges again, but I kept the cheek part to come out so that it exaggerates. After I made the front half of the head, I used sculpting tool to make adjustments. I found myself that minor adjustments are better made after making the whole mesh rather than making minor tweaks during the creation of the mesh. Next, I started to make the eyelid. The technique isn't different, it's just vertices extruded, and then thickness was given using the solidify modifier. And next, I cut out the eye. Since all the prints I've made so far had the eye painting on top of the face, this time I wanted to try something different. I wanted the eye separated from the face part so I can color in the eye and place it behind the face like this. Next, it's time to make the hair. I started with making bulky hairs because I like my hair done in big bulks. After making a few curves, the hair will look somewhat done, and up till now we made somewhat of a face, the front hair, the eye, and so let's add a neck and the back hair and proceed with the tied hair. Just a few curves will do the trick, I think. Miku also has this giant unnecessary square donuts on her hair, so let's add that in too. Next we make the body, starting off from a blob. I moved the vertex around so that the blob fits the reference image. When the basic outline of the blob is finished, let's give it some gender assumable characteristic. And next part, arms. Let's start from a subdivided cube, just like how babies are made.
Wow.
And extrude the face until it reaches the length of the reference image. Now, normally I would just move the mesh to make it look like the reference image, but this time I gave armature a try. Now, as an amateur armaturist, my first attempt was rather opposite of successful. It looks like she got the tennis elbow twice in a row. The solution was rather simple. I just had to give some more resolution on the articulation and orient the lower arm the correct way. Now it's time to make the handies. Starting from a rectangular prism, I cut it into 4 pieces and extrude it into 4 asparaguses. Let's make a sausage for the thumb, and now it's an English breakfast. This itself doesn't really look like a hand yet, but after adding some hand details like the tendon, it still doesn't really look like a hand. Next, place the armatures inside and make the V fingers. Oddly, after adding the armature, the mesh started to look more like a hand. once the posing is done, I made the sleeves from the cylinders and added some armpit details using the sculpt mode. And after that, let's rearrange the circle to fit the shirt around the arm and go into sculpt mode to make the details of the back hair. And also put that iconic zigzag. Zigzag. After that, let's smooth out our sculpting and do the skibidi toilet. Like fixing the collar, making better armpit, adding a name tag, going out for climbing, adding a tie, more hair on the back, more climbing. Very important procedure indeed. When the model looked like it's ready, I started to prepare it for printing. So all curves were converted into meshes and joined together. And of course, I made the assembly parts and I almost forgot about the placid on the face. And we finally print. Now, this was the first time I printed something I made with a resin printer. So a part of me was unsure if this is the right way to treat resin prints, but I guess all of us learn on the way.
Yo, double please.
I washed it, I cured it. I also made a terrible mistake with the orientation of the print. For example, if this head was printed the other way around, it wouldn't have made these terrible support marks on the front. Meet dum dum. So after sanding the parts, I coated it with primer. I mixed the colors to match the color palette. Looks like a drop making crime scene. And I airbrushed the parts with the corresponding colors. Different from how I used monotone to color in parts, I tried using two colors to make shades. Shades. Any small parts were painted with the brush and basically all parts were finished for assembly. But let's pause and rewind. Because the main point of this whole thing was to make a Miku that shoots beams from eye. So, how do they? Okay, so to make this Miku flashlight slash beam, we need a strong flashlight, and that's why I bought this. This flashlight apparently has 20k lumen brightness. Yes. And 20k lumen is basically this much bright, so that's quite bright. Anyways, also it's so bright that it says on the box not to shine it into people's eye. Anyways, we're going to disassemble this flashlight and find the smallest compartment. Make it into the smallest compartment as we can. So yeah, I took off the lens part, and I believe this part is for the battery. This is the battery compartment. Yep, correct. And the battery compartment is this whole thing. It's from here to here. So, yep, we can screw that off. How do we disassemble the rest of them? There is this little hole up on the front. Maybe we can take that off. Ow. I think I got something there. Okay, I don't know how, but I somehow got it out. Whoa. Yes. Now we have to get that out. This ain't gonna be easy.
1 minute later.
Okay, I did it. I don't know how I did it. I seriously don't know how. I was just poking it with plier and it worked. Damn. Wait, maybe I can cut it off and then I can solder it back on. Just have to do that. So after soldering the cut off part, the flashlight became functional again. Everything was going well until I realized Miku has 2 eyes for 2 light beams. So I bought another flashlight to disassemble and just take the LED part and connect it with the first one. It worked when I wired the lights parallelly. So now that we got the electric parts covered, let's go back to the assembly. While putting the parts together, I ran into a bit of a problem. The head is just f***ing big, almost equivalent to the look of a Chupa Chups. Well, the reason why it's so big is because of my drawing habit. I tend to draw characters with big heads. So,
Side note for y'all, if someone ever is trying to make a model from scratch, just make sure your sketch is well prepared. Anyways, I attached the big horse watermelon of a balloon head to the itsy bitsy thorax of a pile of thatch from a scarecrow using an epoxy for strong bonds. After I ensured that any bondings were well secured, I painted little parts like the mouth and the hair ring. Okay, ran into another bit of a problem. Originally, the plan was to stuff all the electric parts inside the body. However, I haven't thought about the volume of the cords and how big the battery is. So sadly, I had to ditch the idea of stuffing it with electricity. Yes, I just said that. And just keep the electric parts out from the hole from the back. Honestly, terribly disappointed, but I consider it learning from my mistakes. Anyway, one final check with the whole outcome, and the Miku Miku Beam is finally finished. This one particularly took me a lot of time, a lot of new things for me like resin printing, and it's the first model made from a self-made sketch. As much as there are flaws in this one, like the non-enclosed side of the head or the big lollipop head, but I also learned a lot of stuff through it, so hopefully I won't make the same mistakes again in the future. The function of the Miku Beam was surprisingly well. Tested it on my bathroom, pitch black, and boom, there we go. It brightened up the whole bathroom with no other light source, so yeah, pretty strong. Or you can also use it to deal damage to the eyeball, like there is even a light mode specifically to blind your opponent in disadvantageous situations, or you can just use it to rave on your own. Anyways, this was Korean Butter, making a Miku beam shooting an actual beam. If you liked watching me make weird internet meme stuff into real stuff, press that subscribe button. It really, really helps me out a lot in motivation. Anyways, this was Butter again, and I'll see you in the next video with a possibly less complicated thing to make. Yeah. Well, yeah. That's that. That's Butter. I'm always bad with the ending sequence. Yeah, I mean, how should I even end a video? Like, I don't know. I can't, like, possibly end mid